started, and let's start there.
Yeah. So again, I'll kind of back you up back to when I was in middle school. My father was kind of our middle school football coach, and he saw that in like the younger athletics side of things, that again, he wasn't necessarily concerned with seeing guys squat 400 pounds, but he saw like a lack of physical preparation. And this is, back in the early 2000s for those younger demographics. And he said, hey, we can coach football all day long, but if these kids aren't physically prepared for the game, we're going to spend some time this off season and train them. So Dad didn't know exactly what he was going to do, because you can't just take, 50 kids into a Gold's Gym or anything like that. You have to find a way to have this facility. So one weekend, my mom was out of town on a girls' trip, and Dad says, get in this truck. We go down to this local fitness depot, and Dad literally bought a glorified Gold's Gym and moved it into the basement of our house. I'm talking squat racks, leg press, lat pull down, $30,000 worth of stuff. And we get it delivered, and Mom's getting home from her trip, and we got a 18-wheeler in our driveway unloading all this equipment. My mom's like, what in the hell is, going on here? And anyway, we converted that into a gym down in the basement where Dad started training me. And then at the end of the football season, he put out a little flyer to the members of the team. It's not required, but hey, anybody that wants to learn about strength and conditioning, we've got workouts Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 4:00. And, he's thinking 6 people are going to jump on this. He was charging like $5 a session. Well, the first day we didn't really have this plan because we didn't know what was going to happen. We get a knock at the door at 4:00, and there's 37 kids at our front driveway. And my mom's wondering what in the world's going on. We just invited the entire football team to the house. And anyway, make a long story short, it kind of segued from there where, it went from having a couple of sessions a week where Dad was training us to now he was having multiple sessions a day to try to, accommodate everybody in this 400 square foot room. And, this was, again, back when I was in middle school. And then, I get into college, and I was obviously obsessed with the weight room. And I originally thought I was going to go the college route. But again, something we'll get into later, being the son of college football coaches, I saw how demanding the college side of strength and conditioning was, where you can be the best strength and conditioning coach in the world. But unfortunately, sometimes that's not, you're not always in control of your fate, so to speak, based on administration, based on head coaching changes, et cetera. So I saw my dad, who was a longtime college coach, kind of segue himself into that entrepreneurship role to start his own business. And I kind of said to myself, why not be in charge of my own success or failure? So it kind of morphed into this gym Dad started in the basement when I was in middle school, all by accident. I grew up in the program. I grew up in the system. And again, this was a side gig that my dad had. He owns a commercial flooring business. And when I got, towards the tail end of high school, Dad said, I don't really have time to serve 2 masters. I can't run my flooring business and this, strength and conditioning thing that at this point had now morphed into serving kids in the community. Like it blew up, because at the time there wasn't, your you had your Zach Evanesh's and Joe DeFranco's, and that was pretty much it. So he basically told me, hey, you know what I'm doing. I've trained you since you were 12 years old. Would you like to take over? He was slowing the business down, the training business down a little bit. Would you like to take over? And I looked at it at the time as 18 years old kid and said, you know what? It's some side money. I like training, whatever. I'll take the cash. I didn't really know where I was going with my life. And then all of a sudden, 2 clients turns to 4 to 18. Next thing I know, I've got kids doing step ups on a staircase in a residential house. And I said, I guess I'm this Gary Vaynerchuk entrepreneur thing they talk about, So that was really it. So it was I'm very fortunate to have a lot of resources and be, counseled by a lot of quality people. But it was really, this platform was kind of handed to me, from a standpoint of, I had the facility, it was in a basement of a house. It wasn't ideal, but, you look at Joe DeFranco and that 500 square foot, closet gym he started with. I bust him about that, because my gym was only 432 square feet to his huge 500, but that's really what it was. And then, for the first 5 years, I didn't breathe. I just kept my head down and trained. And, one day my accountant called me and he's like, do you have any idea how much money you made last year? And I couldn't guess. I'd just get the checks. I'd go to the bank and I'd sprint back to go train people. And he's like, Ray, there's these things called taxes. And I'm like, I don't know what any of that means. Let me just, let me spot the squats, and then sure enough, I'm a business owner now. So it fell in my lap with a lot of just gritty effort and dumb business sense that I've eventually, got counseled on